Hello, this is a case study for a course that I teach, and I've improved it over the last couple of years. And I think there's some information in this presentation that you may consider using in your own teaching when it comes to teaching students how to how to do things or in skill development. It's called a studio course, and I've added a blended or hybrid aspect to the studio course. And there's some principles I'd like to share with you, some things I learned, and possibly help. So my background, real quickly, is that I am an industrial designer who's been around for quite a while. I've taught also for half of my career. I've taught at a couple of other institutions, and I'm here at USU for the last 4 years. And here's my contact info. So I want to talk about these things in this presentation. What is a studio format course, in case you don't know? Why is it helpful? And I also want to show kind of the before the course situation and how it is now with the improvements. And then hopefully there will be some concepts if you ever want to incorporate studio course principles into your own curriculum as an option. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit about the history about what a studio course is, in case you don't know, and how that is done today. So it all started, as far as I can tell from the research and my background, started kind of in Germany with what's called the Bauhaus. And the Bauhaus was in different locations, and eventually the Nazis got rid of them because it was a little controversial. They felt they were somehow degenerate. And of course, with Nazi extremist views, you have some potential for cutting off good things. So the good things about the Bauhaus were that they had the students learning how to design things. So here's some examples of some work that came out of the Bauhaus. It covers, there's architecture, interior design, graphic design, and product design. These examples that I'm showing you are fairly well known in the design community. There is, on the right-hand side here on the bottom, this iPod, which you're certainly familiar with, came out of Apple. They both designed it and produced it, really super kind of revolutionary. And its design was based off a Bauhaus design of an AM/FM, well, at least AM radio that was designed back then. So you can see some of the features that they actually picked up off. So hugely influential. The Bauhaus has had a great effect on product design these days, architecture, and other fields of design. But the learning method in the Bauhaus is what I want to focus on here today. So this is kind of what it looked like back in the day. Here's some images from the Bauhaus. You have students basically learning by making and then getting critiqued on their work. And so a studio is an option for teaching, especially a curriculum that gets students ready to work in professional degrees, fields. It was done back then, and here are just some random images that show kind of the similar situation, except in these days it's essentially the same. The course that I focus on in this presentation is a computer-aided design course, and so I have students in that course, and they go through the similar process that you see here in these images. And all design studios or design programs across the world, they pretty much have the studio setting. Why is it helpful? And I want to talk about Bloom's taxonomy, things that are typically in a design curriculum, and what happens with student work in school and how it helps in the future. So with Bloom's taxonomy, you see at the very top, we've got produce new original work. A student must produce to get a job. They must, rather than get good grades, they have to produce really great work. And they have coming out of many design programs, our design program here at USU, the Outdoor Product Design and Development degree, they have to have a portfolio of work. And it shows that they've gone through this whole taxonomy. They understand basic principles, they understand skills, and they've applied them. And they've made new things, basically. And our upper division studio courses really focus on that. getting those portfolio projects underway and in their books. So foundation courses teach underlying principles and skills and things like that. And so the studio that I want to show you today, one of my courses, is really with these foundation students, and they're moving towards the upper division studio courses. So it's kind of like it's helping the students understand basic principles and skills, but also helping them apply them so that they can produce. In the course, they actually produce some pretty cool stuff. In a curriculum for most design programs, you have these sort of skills that they must understand and abilities and areas of knowledge that they have to become familiar with so that they can function in a professional environment with other professionals that are not designers, and they have to be able to communicate with them. And those studios are really what they kind of, where they kind of produce and get all that cool stuff into their portfolios. So here's some examples of studio work from former students of mine. And you can see these are computer aided design. These are models and renderings of 3D models. So a student has gone through the process of ideating or sketching, coming up with various ideas. For the design process, this is really good because it helps a client or a design team or a development team or executives at a company even see what the direction of the product is going to be throughout the development process. Students have to be able to communicate with manufacturing. So you have two-dimensional documents to share with production. Here's another one, the technical drawing, and also 3D models that can be 3D printed or CNC cut, the tooling. So anyway, the skills are really essential. And this is just a snippet or a snapshot of a few projects that students, the level of work that they have to achieve in school so that they can get a job and immediately start to be productive and immediately start working with other professionals. So my studio course, this is how it sort of looked before. And I have in this one course, remember it's a freshman, sophomore. I got freshmen and sophomores in that course. We're teaching computer skills, photorealistic rendering, and about the design process. So in Bloom's taxonomy, they're doing some skills, they're learning about, they're gaining knowledge, but they're actually applying those skills and knowledge so that they can produce good designs. This is my classroom, this is my actual classroom that I teach. It's in the basement of the library. And the students, and you remember those pictures I showed you of the Bauhaus, very similar kind of, you have a classroom, students are packed in there, just like many of us are experienced with. And then here's the teacher station. This is where I demonstrate. So I spend a good chunk of time in each class session demonstrating. These are the skills, these are the tools, this is the software that you're going to learn and you need to learn. And all the students are, during class, they're doing what I'm doing, and they're doing their own versions of what I'm doing. And so this little diagram, I just whipped this together just to give you an indication of what it's like. After I do the demonstration, I'm going around to different students to help them on their own exercises for the assignment that I've given them. So I'll give an assignment, I'll demonstrate how to do it, I'll show them specific skills and methods, and then they try to do that themselves. So they're learning by doing. It's a studio. First 4 weeks, we're doing step-by-step tutorials. The last, or the weeks 5 through 15, 16, we're doing projects. So more conceptual, more applying knowledge with the last part of the semester or a majority of the semester. They're working on projects, they're accumulating those projects, they're thinking about things, but they're also remembering the skills, the knowledge that I've shared with them. Throughout this, I have projects that they're due about every 2 weeks, and then for the first month, they're due every week. And these are more kind of step-by-step. They're basic skills, basic tools, and the projects is where all of this comes together, and they're actually designing stuff. So that's kind of the structure. And here's what those projects look like, and the tutorials. So these 1, 2, 3, 4 images show a series of step-by-step projects that I have them do. And these are my models, and I basically demonstrate how to do these things, and then they do them themselves. And There's and I've noticed over the years as I've taught this class for about 8 years or so, and I noticed at the beginning, from the very beginning, students have a hard time following my demonstrations, and it's just the nature of it. I can go fast, I can go slow, I can go detail, I can go less. I can remember to say certain things, but inherently it's just going to be difficult because students vary in their ability to take in information and then to apply it and remember, and so they're difficult to follow, and especially in a live situation. So this row down here are actual projects. These are, again, my demonstration models, examples of those, and then students do their own versions of this. This is where they have the opportunity to apply the design process and make their own designs that are creative, rather than what they're doing up here is copying, just learning, focusing on tools, but here they're actually creating. So during my demonstrations for these projects, I show my version, but I'm also teaching them important methods and other skills and how to use tools in different ways. And so the content for these demonstrations is important for them to remember as well. But yet, once you say it in class, then you're relying on a student's memory to kind of remember and to apply this stuff, to try to teach them. And I can remember in teaching in this way, going back to students after the demonstration is done during class, hey Jim, what was that? Did you? And I said, well, I just showed you. And then you get this feedback from the student saying, well, I don't remember. Can you show me again? And so that's difficult for makes the learning experience a little more difficult than I think it needs to be. So there is some confusion in that. So the strengths with this, my old version of this studio course, is that it is a studio and they get to learn by making. So that's great. Weaknesses, they can't follow, easy to forget information. Both students were telling me either directly or indirectly, and my ideas about how to make the class better led me to want to make some good changes. So the opportunity was to change that and make it more of a blended or hybrid version of the class, which means including online content. And in this case, it's the content is with videos. So for each one of those projects, I'm including a video with each one of them. Step-by-step instruction, demonstration, here's how I do it. And the benefit for these students is that it's all self-paced. So I can demonstrate in class, and I do, demonstrate face-to-face or in person. They get the instruction, and then I can spend more time, because I'm not having to re-show things, I can spend more time in class helping individuals work through the difficult task of recreating some of this work here. And then having the videos also allows a student to control. They can control the flow of information. They can go back, they can rewind, they can go back to find certain sections and re-listen to things. And so here's an example of that, just a snippet from it's a phone demonstration. I just want to give you an idea, just real quick. All right, so to get this tool to work, you got your two curves, that's all you need. And we're going to go to the sweep one rail tool. You can also type in sweep one, and that'll get you there too. So it asks for the rail. This over here, this second curve, that's our rail. And then it asks rebuild on that if you want, but we're just going to keep it as is. Do not change the cross sections. I'll hit OK. So pretty much the default is going to work. I'll hit OK, and I'm left with a surface. And I'm going to put it on ghosted view here. Like that. What we're going to do is just round off these corners and make it, aesthetically pleasing, hopefully. So to do that, we need to make a new curve from the top view, U-shaped curve that runs all the way around here. Okay, so in that example, I kind of skipped through it a little bit just to make it faster. But you get the idea. So all of these projects, all of these tutorials, they have video similar to what I just showed you, and the students are in control, and they can control the flow of information. So that is a good thing. And the demonstrations are easy to follow and self-pace. Students may miss opportunities for discovery of new ways. It is the only thing I can think of as a weakness now, is that because I'm got these videos, there is some inherent value in having students struggle through learning how to do things, and so a weakness might be there. So, but anyway, the timestamps included would be of benefit, and that's what I'm going to do in the future, just so to reduce the amount of searching that students have to do to find specific information in a demonstration. That could be an improvement there. But overall, really positive. And here's a kind of a comparison between it was the old studio and here's the new studio with demonstration videos with the new ones. So you can see my ratings for this course tended to be, well, overall pretty good, but on the lower side of good. So 4.4 to 5 was what I was getting before, and then now I'm getting 4.5 up to 5. 5's on my course. And it's really easy to find a lot of positive comments about this, and it's just overwhelming. It's really hard to detect nowadays with the videos, with this blended hybrid studio format. It's really hard to find negative comments, whereas before it was really easy to pick out the, I'm struggling, this is hard to do, I need more recordings, or made very distracting in a classroom environment kind of thing. So overall, this is an improvement. Students just overwhelmingly give me super positive feedback. It's one of those courses where, I have no real fear of messing things up, because I think the format and what I've included in the class is really helping with the student ratings, at least, and a lot of good feedback. So what we can learn from all of this is we know that demonstrations are difficult to follow. They can be challenging because of different learning styles that students exhibit. And some listen better, some actually are more visual than others. And so there's just this variety of learning styles and abilities that students come to you with. And so videos give them the control and flow of information. And so I think it's appropriate in the midway in the curriculum, and also early in the curriculum, to have kind of a hybrid or blended approach to a studio course, especially where step-by-step kind of skills need to be taught. And then, well, of course, administrators would like to hear this. Can you teach more students in your class? Well, yes, this makes it a little easier to do that. Don't tell too many people that, but that's what I found. I can reach more students, and I can have my own personal time with students is less stressed out, and with more students. And of course, I found when these videos are made available, and they go over the things that the students need, and they can control the pacing. So those are the concepts that you can take away from this. And if you ever want to go through the process of getting more a studio-based course into your curriculum, these are some steps I would take. If I were you, just deciding where it would fit, decide what portions or projects in the course can be enhanced, then create videos either while you're in class with the students, and then have those, put them up on Canvas. Culture is really good about that. Lets you, with My Media, you can put the videos right into your Canvas course. And then it's helpful, and I have yet to do a lot of this. I want to do more structure and timestamp videos, so that students, especially if you have lengthy videos, you want to be able to have timestamps so that students can go immediately, and they spend less time searching, and they go immediately to the information that they want. Do the demonstration in the class, and make the videos you created available, and then critique student work. Is always a good principle of studio learning, is that you provide not just a grade or points, but you actually provide detailed feedback on how they could do better. All right, so thanks. Been great talking with you. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me.